Warning: the following podcast contains violent scenes that may be unsettling to some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. In the fall of 2010, a single kindred travels to the Twin Cities of Minnesota to answer the call of an elder of his clan. Join us as Rita Giovanni is pulled by family loyalty into a strange territory in which he is forced to strengthen his family's influence, yet at the same time avoid destroying himself with his own dark desires. Hello, and welcome to Twin Cities by Night Eidolon. Twin Cities by Night Eidolon is a Vampire the Masquerade duet story with Adam playing Rita Giovanni and Chris as the storyteller. If you'd like to contact us, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook, where you can find up-to-date news and a link to our Discord. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can find us on Patreon at Twin Cities by Night. We hope you enjoy. So you wake up the next morning, go ahead and blow a blood pool point. What's your blood at right now? I believe you started at 9, so you spent 1 on the ghoul, 1 on waking up, so it should be 7, I believe.
I think that's right. Yeah, sorry, my sheet actually didn't have the blood. Okay, but I'm just going to mark it here. 7.
Yeah, go ahead and keep track of that because I'm horrible at keeping track of such things. So let's take a moment for you to describe what this apartment looks like, seeing that it's probably got all the same stuff, like we said, that you had in Boston. How would you imagine? It's a loft-like apartment, by the way. You know, it's kind of like has a kitchen area. It's not really segmented into rooms. There's a bathroom that's kind of segmented, but you have like the living room and the bedroom. That's kind of, the bedroom's a little raised off the floor. You know, a couple steps that take you to like the bedroom area, but it's all open room. There's like a little kitchen area, but like how is it after your stuff is brought into there? What does it all look like?
It's probably a lot of stacks of books that are not in any kind of shelving, like piles of just different older books, just books that he reads for fun, books that he has because he considers them important, but obviously nothing significant, nothing magical or anything like that, because that would, of course, not be out. But at the same time, he doesn't put forth any effort into maintaining like this illusion of normalcy, because he feels like if the wrong people are poking around or whatever, he already has a way bigger problem on his hands. So he doesn't really like there's no food in his fridge or anything like that. He doesn't play that. He just lives in it as he wants to. And for him, that just means not having a lot of organization. Like his books are just out. And he just kind of, I wouldn't say that he's not like unpacked, because he is unpacked. But right now, this place doesn't look fully lived in yet. It doesn't look fully established. It doesn't look like that's where he always sits, or this is where he sits down at the table and takes a look at something. It's just kind of, there's a lot of, I don't want to say clutter, because then I feel like I'm misrepresenting it too.
But it's not settled.
It's not settled at all.
Gotcha. Now, what would he, in a space like this, where would he reside during the day? I mean, like you could say night or blackout curtains and stuff to that extent, but seeing that it's kind of like open air, would you feel safe in a situation like that, or are you the type who like stay in a closet or like under your bed, or you know what I mean? Like what exactly? Where would Marco hide from the rays of the sun?
He probably, at least at first, would just kind of lock himself in the bathroom at night. And that's maybe something that he learned to do early on. And he might have something more comfortable set up later down the line. But right now, his first night in this new place, or first day, I should say, it's scary for him to just be vulnerable in the sense that he is in this new environment. And when it's daytime, that's it for him. And he can't really guarantee that this is going to be like perfectly safe or whatever. He doesn't know. In Boston, he had that kind of comfort of knowing that this is my domain, this is safe. And it's going to take him a little bit to ease into that.
I mean, I think we see a trend here when it comes to Marco, that he has an issue with feeling vulnerable. He feels vulnerable a lot. I would almost say it's like, you've given up the masochistic tendencies that you had as a mortal, which were an outlet like that for you, but you don't have an outlet right now, kind of in a weird way. So you feel more vulnerable, less in control. And then on top of that, you got the kindred condition thrown on top of that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, he did have that expression before, and he doesn't have that expression now. Like he doesn't engage in that anymore. And he's thought about just ways that he could maybe ease back into that type of behavior for his own well-being, but he's not really sure how. He's not really sure. It's, I mean, mind you, it has to have been like 20 years
Yeah.
since he's actually done anything like that. And he still holds that whole embarrassment that he had where somebody tried to kind of fuck him over by knowing the type of shit that he did. He still like holds on to stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, and also it could be the beast slowly like trying to get control, trying to push you towards those darker tendencies, knowing
And
that
that's
like
it too. And he's always trying to choke down the beast. He's always trying to, because it comes out in the situations of his vulnerability. That's when he wants to tear out somebody's throat in an elevator, when he's just reading this room and he feels not necessarily trapped, but he feels encouraged to just be who he really is. And in a way, he's still fighting that.
so your eyes snap open. It's not like waking up, but it's more like you snap into reality, consciousness again, and you are looking into darkness and you feel the cold porcelain of a tub go along the back of your neck, and you can kind of like smell the rubber of a new shower curtain that is hanging there, and you don't hear any noise, but you kind of like feel your legs are a little cramped up, like you're not like fully laid out, not cramped up, but you feel contorted in this tub. What's going on in your head, and what are you going to do once you awaken?
So he first feels a relief that, okay, this is seemingly safe. I'm awake. He takes a second to kind of collect himself. He has that strange sensation of that first night at a new place, and he just wakes up and he has to like piece together everything that's going on. And then he immediately gets himself out of the bathroom because he does see that as a sign of weakness too, not having a fully established or proper way to retire himself at the end of an evening, keeping himself locked in a bathroom like some kind of scared animal or something. So he quickly just gets himself out of the bathroom. If Jamie was going to come around, he definitely wouldn't want her to, but she has. I mean, she definitely has, of course, seen him in this type of behavior or gotten him from a locked bathroom,
Yeah.
summoned him from a closet, this type of thing before. And she doesn't judge it. She would never say anything because she sees that that's just another vulnerable moment for him. And she's probably afraid that saying the wrong thing in one of these moments could cause him to snap.
Yeah, I'm sure she can see that. So she just, for sure.
So he just gets out of the bathroom and he goes over to wherever the closest window is and he just looks outside and just takes in some of the city atmosphere.
Are you still wearing the same clothes that you wore before?
He is actually. So he'll begin changing into a fresh outfit.
As you're changing the outfit, you look out the window that you're at. You open these large curtains, and you can kind of see when you push the curtains aside. You notice that like the wall that the window is in is like red brick. You can kind of just hear the curtains kind of scuff against it in a way that's normally not as smooth as like places that you're used to living in. And you look out this window, and you see this river that slowly makes its way down. You can see like the vegetation that grows along the river, such as milkweeds, are there, and you can see like in the distance old flower plants. You even see a huge old sign that like it looks like almost like a street board sign that has this name of a flower company, Gold Mill Flower, that's along there. And then you can kind of look across from the river where you're at, and you see like these restaurants that are kind of built along the riverfront. You can see like there's people who are some still sitting outdoors, even though it's not completely warm, like summertime, they're still able to sit out there. And you see they have like those metal kerosene heaters that they put outside of restaurants like that, and you can see like people are talking. And you look at this clock that is set up on the wall, one that you've had for years, that's on there, and you see that it says it's about 8:30 at night right now. And you see on the little coffee table that you have in there that there is a little yellow notepad sheet of paper, and you see Jamie's handwriting, and it says, Roman will call you at 2:30 in the morning to see where to meet. And then there's like a dash and then Jamie's name spelled on there.
I pick it up and I look at it. I will fold it up and kind of put it in my pocket. He wouldn't discard something that, like a note from Jamie, and it's kind of weird that he feels sentimental about even just that, but he folds it up and he puts it away. And he's thinking about what he's going to do. He's not sure if he should maybe call the number that Brian gave him, see how long that's going to take. Maybe this is something he could just squeeze in before meeting with Roman.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not really sure. Maybe
you
he'll
got a
make
lot of
Roman wait for him.
Yeah.
He's not really sure how he wants to play it, and he's not really sure how he wants to go about doing this. So he's kind of just taking a moment to
And you have the
think
Katrina
about the game plan.
And you have the Katrina Carrington thing too, where, trying to repair the relationship with the Toreador. There's a lot, that you can go about doing. So, it's in your hands right now.
So Marco will fish around for the card that was given to him by Brian.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably in like the pocket of the pants he was previously wearing. So he'll grab those and take the card out, and then he'll kind of tuck it away into a hamper or laundry basket or whatever. And he sits down, he takes out a BlackBerry and he types a number in, and he just saves the contact. He doesn't go ahead and call it yet, but he's got his finger on the trigger. And he's just kind of absorbing the sights and sounds of the city at the window at the same time. We'll say, you said he has a balcony, right?
Yeah, he has a balcony. Yeah.
We'll say he's out on the balcony, his arms on the railing, and he's just kind of letting the chill of night just kind of revitalize him. And he feels comfortable now. He feels more like, okay, Marco, this is home. This is going to be great. And he sees all the life, and it makes him feel comfortable because life is opportunity
for sure.
him.
Yeah. And Jamie found this area of the city that has this perfect combination of seclusion and life. It's like that perfect peak, that perfect bridge between the two right now. And as you're viewing this as it's going on.
And he loves the place too. He feels that the type of environment that was chosen is more conducive to the type of activities he'd like to perform. He's of course comfortable and knows that he would be able to get his operation set up wherever he was, but it would have probably required more preparation if it didn't feel right. And this place certainly feels right. And last night was just proof of that.
Yeah, for sure. You guys, I didn't think about that. You Christian it in a weird, corrupt kind of way that like made it known that this place is okay. Now, I mean, this is the first time in the city, so you have been on your own too. And, like without Rita there or without this conversation with Philip or anything like that. So is part of the feeling like, okay, like this is your, like that territorial side of being a kindred. Is that also what you're feeling now too?
It definitely is. And after when he does the sacrament, it's almost like he feels like he just got laid or something because he has this sense
Afterglow.
of confidence. Yeah.
He
has this confidence right now where he's putting his chest out a little bit more, and he feels ready.
Nice. So what are you ready for, Marco?
So I go ahead and I'm going to make the phone call to, sorry, what was the name of the business one more time? I know that
it was called Allen and Sons Moving.
Yeah, so I'm just going to dial up Allen and Sons. Going to be very direct. I'm going to tell him, this is Marco. Brian gave me this number, and I'm just going to see where I go.
The phone rings a couple times, and then you hear it be answered, and then you hear, hello?
And I'm doing things as I'm talking on the phone. I have the BlackBerry tucked between my ear and my shoulder as I'm making this call, and I'm kind of just getting my things in order, maybe grabbing a jacket, getting things ready for me to get in the car and just start driving.
Yeah.
Marco, Brian gave me this number.
Oh, yes. Okay. So we have the goods that you ordered. We can either drop them off wherever you would like, or you can come here and view the goods.
Yeah. Why don't I come there? You can just tell me where to go.
Yeah, sure. And he's like, and he gives you an address, and he explains to you that it is storage units that they have, that they have it. And he's like, and he explains that to you. He's basically like, yeah, we have a storage unit that we're keeping. Once you get to the gate, you can just tell the person who you are, and they'll direct you to where the storage unit is at. And you can use, you also know because of Jamie telling you that there's a GPS in the car that you have.
Yeah, I'd be like programming it into the Garmin or whatever, because it's not, at like 2000.
Yeah, it's one that plug in GPS.
Yeah, exactly. So that, he'd of course be writing it down to transfer that into the GPS when he gets into the car. He's comfortable with that type of thing. And he'll eventually just, like while this conversation is happening, he's basically just grabbing the keys to leave and getting everything he thinks he's going to need.
Exactly. What do you think you're gonna need for this? That's the thing that I'm interested in. Like, what would you bring with, do you think? 'Cause I'm sure there's like a bag or something, like a duffel bag you'd put stuff in. Would you have to go in this other apartment that she put like the things that shall not be seen in, or
I'm not going to bring any of that kind of stuff with me because my goal, or what I'm going to suggest, is that I'm actually going to bring the cargo back to my apartment. And then Jamie's going to help me get it set up in the room. And even if we can't get to it immediately, we might have to, our company might be required to meet with Roman at that time, but at least we'll have everything ready to go for us in this specific room. So my goal is to try to like get down there, maybe load up the SUV
Hmm.
and bring everything back.
Now they interject. They said that they would bring it to you, that they could bring it to you if that's easier.
Yeah, he doesn't want people snooping
Ah, I
around or
see.
whatever.
He doesn't want people to know where he's at. I see.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, Black dude pointing at his forehead meme. You know what I mean? They can't kill you if they don't know where you live. You know what I mean? Like
That's that careful coming into play.
that's that careful. I'm such a bad vampire storyteller. I'm like, why does he just have the
No, no,
movers
no.
move? Yeah, you're like, no. I'm the one whose life's at risk, asshole. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. So you get into, well, what kind of SUV do you have? Like, what kind of SUV do you think Jamie would have gotten you?
Like a black Suburban or something.
Yeah, like something like a kind of bigger that you can put stuff in and everything.
Yeah, and it's a pretty big SUV. It's not like a brand new, super shiny, but it's nice. It's just a black, maybe like a couple less than 5 years
Hmm.
old, I would say.
Nice. So you are driving. You are driving and following the instructions while you're driving the Suburban. You slowly start getting to like the more southeastern end of the Twin Cities, where it's kind of you don't quite know the whole demographics of the city, but you kind of see that the businesses start getting a little older. The gas stations start getting a little less retail chain like and are more like given random names. You see there's more liquor stores and more bars that start coming across. You start seeing a couple homeless people that are walking along, and you eventually get to this hotel or this U-Haul that is on the street. You see as you drive slowly up with your Suburban, you see that there's this large chain link fence, and as you look through the chain link fence, you can see those. It's one of those U-Haul storage areas that have like stacks of storage spaces where people can kind of like go up steps, and like some of them are on the ground definitely for people who have heavier shit, but then there's some that are like if you go up steps and people just want to throw boxes up in there or something to that extent. You see big advertisement like environmentally controlled storage units starting at like $9.99 a month or something like that. Big bright letters are coming across there. You see that there are lights that are on that are throughout the yard of where these storage units are at. They're kind of like throwing a illumination around there. You see across the street, there's this cheap hotel called the Knights Inn that's across the street from there. And as you drive up in your Suburban, you see the gate to drive through is locked, and there's like a little kind of like office area that's right by it. It has big windows so you can see through it, and you can see that there's someone who's working in there, and you kind of see the motion of like them looking, and then they kind of see them open the door and they come out, and you see they go and they open up the gate and they walk towards the passenger side of the SUV. You see it's a man. He looks to be about 40 or 50 years old, kind of heavier set, has a beer gut, has like a gray beard, kind of like greasy, like blondish gray hair that is short, but he kind of has it like trying to slick it back, but not doing too good of a job at it. And he walks up and he's clean shaven and he looks at you and he's like, can I help you?
Yeah, my name is Marco. Here to pick something up.
Yes. And he goes ahead and he starts pointing. He's looking. He's like, okay, if you go up around there and you make a left through that first row, it's on the bottom. It's 107. Okay. And he's like, hands you a key. He's like, this is the key I was told to give to you.
And do they have any kind of like carts or anything I can, like, you know what I mean? Do they have anything I can like wheel whatever I get from there?
There's something in the, you ask him that and he says there's something in the storage unit that should be able to help you move it around.
Great. That'll be all. And I'm just looking at him like, okay, leave now, basically.
Yeah. And he kind of like walks back and he goes back into the area and he waits for you to drive off.
So yeah, I'm going to where the locker is, and I'm just going to be as casual as possible. I'm just disassociating myself from what I'm doing. This
Yeah.
is simply me picking up cargo. This is simply business and this is simply work. And I'm just trying to be as cold about it as I possibly can be.
So you drive up and you make a left and you start driving down, like there's space between two rows of units. The garage doors are both facing inward. So you're seeing these like garage doors as you're slowly driving, and your headlights are piercing the darkness, and you can kind of see the numbers slowly as shadows are kind of enveloping this little drive path that you're making your way through. And you see the number 107. You get out of your vehicle and you go take the key and you unlock the padlock and you go and slide up as you slide the door up. And you kind of see darkness right now, but you can see some silhouettes. But then you feel around and you feel there's a light switch like to the right, and you flip on this light switch. And a bright light comes from this bulb that's hanging on the top. And you look and you see that looks like there's two like freezer units that are in there, and you can kind of tell that you can hear the humming of like electricity, of like there's fans in there, like, you know, that they're powered on. And you see that there's this cart, like a metal like long cart where you can throw stuff and, you know what I mean, and then move it around, and that's it.
And so I'm just going to immediately begin trying to load up the cart.
So you go and you open up you open up the freezer units? Is that what you're doing? Because the freezer unit's pretty big, you know, you're not going to be able, you know what I'm saying? It's like, looks like a meat locker.
Okay, I'm sorry. I misunderstood.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, I'm going to just leave the cart kind of behind me a ways, and I'm going to walk up and see what the situation is in this freezer locker. How are these preserved? Is this something I can take out and take with me, or?
So you open, like you take this handle and you open it up, and like you feel this cold like mist come, and you can kind of like, it comes out for a little bit, and then you slowly see that there's like two figures that are in this freezer, and they're in these like black zip up body bags, but you can kind of tell that you can't see through the bags, but you can kind of tell that they're definitely frozen. You kind of like put your hand, you can even hear like the black rubber of the bag like crinkle a little bit when you put your hand on it, like it's been there for a long time, and that there's like a thin veneer of ice that kind of is around it too.
He'll take a second and just kind of look at it, and then he'll look behind him, trying to gauge how alone he is right now. He's weighing his options. He doesn't think it would be smart on his second day here to just be seen wheeling a cart of two body bags out of a storage locker. So he's taking a look around. Maybe I can just throw something over it, or there's got to be some kind of way in here. But he's still calm.
Yeah, he's still calm. You notice in the back of the SUV, there's like a emergency, like a old blanket that's folded up with like an emergency road kit that's in there. And it's kind of like a setup that, you know, Jamie has put in all your vehicles for if you ever need an emergency to wrap yourself in a blanket, or, you know, something to that extent. So you see that in there, like you could potentially like throw a blanket over this cart, or, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the move. Marco's going to just very, in a nonchalant way, pull the bodies out of the freezer and just kind of plop them onto the base of this cart.
Okay.
He's going to try to kind of position it into a manageable position. He's not being particularly respectful of the bodies. And he knows that that's not really part of this. These are tools now. And Philip doesn't need to know what's going to happen to achieve these results that he wants. I'm sure if he did, he would not want us actually doing this, but...
Yeah, you never know. You never know. Here's the thing we need to address. Your character has a strength of 2. So let me look up the strength of 2 here real quick. Physical, strength of 2, average, you can lift 100 pounds. So these figures, I would say they're a little over 100 pounds. You know what I mean? So, but they're frozen, they're dead weight. So I'm going to say that you're going to have to at least buffer up your strength to 3 to be able to, like, you know what I mean? Like, get to accomplish this. Would you like to do that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So go ahead and you can spend 1 blood pool point. What does it feel like when you spend blood to raise your physical attributes? Like how does it feel to Marco when he does that?
It's a rush. He definitely feels a sensation as he feels that strength increase. But at the same time, he feels he has a little bit less of his life force for doing that. And it makes him think about his own weaknesses.
Does it cause him to be anxious while he's doing this?
It's about 50-50. On one hand, he feels this tremendous amount of power, even just giving himself this slight boost. But on the other hand, he feels this reluctance to use the to use what he can use now that he is a kindred. He always feels this reluctance, especially when he's not in the comfort of his haven. Like, you have to keep in mind that what he's good at, as far as being kindred and stuff, it's all things that he can basically do from the comfort of his haven, from the safety of his haven. And even like rituals and stuff are dangerous, but like he can at least do them in safety. And even just this small act of raising his strength, this small degree to be able to lift, he does feel this sense of doing something bad out in the open.
So how does it feel to make you know that these two bodies are the prince's biological mom and sister who he, ghouled, or that's at least what Rita told you? You haven't even looked at the bodies, you just see, you feel when you're lifting them, you kind of feel their human form underneath as you're kind of like trying to put them over your shoulder, trying to like hold them, cradle them with both your arms. And as you're putting them on this cart and putting them in the back of your vehicle and everything like that, like what are any thoughts? Like you said, they're just tools. Is that how that's how he's compartmentalizing this right now?
Yeah, he doesn't care. He knows what this is. This is how this works. He has no feelings about, and I mean, the fact that it's Philip's family doesn't mean anything either.
Yeah. I mean,
this is what we do,
This is what you are. You're a kindred. You're a Canite. You're a vampire. Like this.
I'm a Giovanni.
You're Giovanni.
I understand complicated family relations.
Giovanni subtitle. I understand complicated family relationships. That's an understatement of the year. So you get these two figures in the vehicle, and you throw this blanket over them, and slowly you push down the hatch of the SUV as you hear it click, and you get in the vehicle and you drive out. And when you drive out, there's this moment where you catch eyes with the guy at the gate, and you can see almost like the uncomfortableness that the guy has staring at you through the gate as you drive by. Where are you going now?
I'm just going back home. I'm going to be calling Jamie on my way back, and I'm going to basically give her my ETA of when I'm going to arrive back at the place.
Yeah.
And I want her to be outside to try to help me with this. And I'm going to tell her to bring some things down that's going to maybe help us conceal this, bringing it up to the top floor.
She says, okay. And that's all she says, just okay, and then hangs up. So when you get back to the apartment, which is probably like 9:30 or 10, we'll say, you see Jamie has one of the doors propped open, and you see that she has a vehicle with the back undone. It looks like it's an SUV, but a smaller SUV. And you see she has like these stonewashed jeans on, and has a University of Virginia like hoodie, like this old hoodie on. And she is like, has these white sneakers, and she looks like she's having a hard time like moving boxes and everything like that. And then she looks at you, and there's this unspoken communication where you understand this is her like putting up a front. So if anyone sees like stuff being moved, they'll think that's like tied to her, moving into this apartment or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, sir." And she looks at you like, when you pull up, she's like, "Can you give me a hand with some of my boxes here? I'm sorry, I need to move some stuff here."
Wait, so she's saying that to me?
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah. So I just go along with the act, and I give her like a smile and nod. And
so eventually, like in these boxes, or, like she has like a whatever, like just bringing them duffel bags or boxes. You guys both help carry like this blanket wrap figures. You know what I mean? As you like both take him into this apartment number 10.
And Marco's not scared, because in the comfort of his haven, even though this is a new home for him, he's not afraid of any messes, because he'll just take care of them, whatever he has to do. Like there'll be a third body in that room if anything goes wrong.
Holy shit. So, and you notice when Jamie is helping you move, like she's incredibly strong for her size, and that's one thing that you've kind of noticed at times, like since you've given her the proxy also. But there, you also notice when she's like doing this for you, there's like this intensity and determination to what she's doing, like moving this stuff, getting it in there. And the moment that both the bodies are in apartment 10 and the stuff from the back for SUVs in apartment 8, she just kind of quietly walks back to 8. Like she knows her role is not to know, you know what I mean? That should not be seen. I say that sarcastically, but that's how she treats it. Like behind 9, behind the closed doors of 9, she can see stuff like that. Behind the closed doors of 10, that's none of her business. And part of her probably doesn't even want to know.
Yeah, and he'll give her a nod as he kind of dismisses her to go back to her own room. He'll probably call her again in a few hours when he is going to be meeting with Roman. But at this point, he's basically going to just start unzipping the bags. He's very coldly just.
So is this room empty? Is the loft completely empty?
This is the room that is our room, right? Like the one that is 8. So it's
Eight's hers.
8 is hers. 9
Nine is your
ours.
yeah, yours where you like, and you guys put the bodies in 10, which is like the no room, which is the room where your deeds are done.
Like the necromancy dojo.
Yeah, necromancy dojo. Yes.
I put it in the shared room. Basically, that's like more of a workspace. Yeah, it's kind of like a workspace. But like, of course, she knows that there's certain times where she's not welcome in there.
Okay, so 10 is where you do the fucked up shit. That's the apartment where you do the fucked up shit.
Yeah, because the place where I lived in, I want to just look like just a home. But this other apartment that we have, this is just for.
Okay, let me make this clear. Right?
Okay, yeah. Clarify for me. Sorry, I think I might have gotten it mixed up.
Yeah. So 9 is the room you slept in, but this is the one that has books and looks like your normal apartment that you live in. That's where you stay in the bathroom.
Right.
8 is the one she stayed in. Now 10 is the room, the apartment that she leased out that's empty for you to do your dark shit in.
And so that's the room where me and her did our thing the night before.
Okay, gotcha.
So, sorry if I wasn't clear on that. But just to clarify, shared space is going to be like a workshop, and that's where we performed certain acts the night before. Yeah. And it's in a way it's set up. Like in a way
how's it set up? Tell me how it's set up.
There's tables, there's candles. I mean, it might appear kind of hokey to somebody from the outside, but it's all just things that actually work to him. So it's all of the means that he needs to engage in these types of rituals. So, I mean, in some ways it's going to look like a magic shop, but it's basically adorned with Catholic imagery, prayer candles, stained glass, crucifixes, hanging crosses with Jesus, like very, very like Catholic, just pictures of Jesus. And basically, there's just going to be different devices, different tools that maybe only he knows their exact uses. There's going to be like a well-worn looking pot. It looks like it's been used multiple times, blackened on the bottom, some type of cast iron type thing. And in a way, that stuff is kind of messy too. It's just like a lot of it is tucked away in closets. A lot of it is just set aside. But there is like this table in the middle, and there's chairs around it, almost like a seance table or something like that, because he uses the ways that he knows work. So basically anything that he's had success with, he'll just recreate in this space, and that's just how they're going to do it. And she's set it up in a way that looks reminiscent of the way that they would do it back in Boston, which was, I imagine maybe he had a real stained glass window that, he would shine a lantern near to give this mockery of daylight, because of course none of this could ever happen in daylight, but just different sorts of symbols. It's always just about suggesting symbols and, like I said, doing whatever it takes to make it work. But during this time, this room is off limits.
Gotcha. That's pretty intense, man. So you put the two bodies on the table or just on the ground?
He'll try to plop them onto the table, and he's not being delicate about it at all. They'll just give a hard thud onto this table. He's cleared off any sort of ritual instruments first, and then he just goes ahead and he just unzips the bags, and he's just looking down.
So when you unzip the bags, you see are you zipping them all the way down or just?
All the way, yeah. And just kind of, he's not like pulling them apart, but he's just zipping it down all the way to where what's inside is exposed.
So you unzip both bags, and what you're hit with is the image of two bodies. One looks to be probably in her 20s. She has her when you first start zipping it down, you see her face, and you see icicles have frosted over her eyelashes, but you see that her eyes are open, but they're almost glazed over in gray. You see she had gray eyes, hazel eyes before, but you see the frost is almost like coated the eyeballs in themselves, and you can't make out clearly the pattern of her irises. You see that her lips are white and cold and blue, and you see that her skin is completely pale. And as you continue to zip it down, you see her breasts and the nipple of them are also blue, like they have been void of life for a while. And you see a pubic bush of blonde hair and her vagina lips as you slowly pull it down. But like you said, it's meat at this point. It's not anything that serves a purpose, but you can tell they've been in a freezer for a long time. You can see that they like haven't even started the thaw, even on your drive back, the 20-minute drive or carrying them up. When you do the next body, you see something similar, but you notice when she looks to be maybe in her late 30s or early 40s, but you notice when you are zipping it down more, you see that her breasts aren't as firm as the one to the left. You see that there's stretch marks that go along her belly and go along her hips. You see still the same pubic bush, but you see like the dimplage of cellulite that the younger one didn't have before, that's been frozen in eternity. But the eyes are the ones that really get you, how they're just glazed over in ice, like they died open and they've remained open in this freezer this whole time.
He's just looking at them, contemplating. What time is it right now?
It's about 10:30 right now.
Yeah, I probably don't have time to start anything serious right now. And he's just kind of considering, he doesn't want to just jump in, try to do some rush job. This is serious stuff. So he's kind of just looking down, but at the same time, this is just work to him. This is just, it's very real. So it's not as mystical as it might seem to him. It's very much an actual thing. Yeah. So he's kind of just has like a cold approach to it. And after a while, he'll maybe zip the bodies back up and he's going to just leave the room and go back into the apartment. And he's locking up after himself. He's confident that they're cold enough to where they're not going to be an issue, at least for the next couple hours. And we'll deal with that when we actually get into what we're going to do, basically. It's his mindset.
And when's that going to be, after you talk to Roman?
Yeah, he's gonna wait till his business with Roman is done before he can isolate himself and do what needs to be done as far as achieving the results Philip wants.
Okay, so we'll say the next 4 hours kind of go by as you're just sitting in your number 9 apartment, as you're sitting on the couch there, and you hear your BlackBerry buzz and you see the number for Roman. And we are going to officially end the session at that point. But what we're going to do before I let you go is we're going to talk about XP and we're going to hand out experience points first. Before we do experience points, so I know you spent how many points of willpower? 2 points of willpower?
2 points of willpower.
So you can get a point of willpower back if you did something to fit your nature. Can you make a case of having done something that fits your nature?
I don't think he really displayed any of his masochistic tendencies.
Yeah.
I think maybe his demeanor might have shined through, but his true nature, no. I don't think that was something that was definitely kept wrapped up in this session.
Okay. Yeah, so you get 1 point for automatic. So you get 1 point for playing. Learning curve. Ask the player what his character learned in the course of the night's events. If you agree with the answer, give the player 1 experience point. What did you learn this evening or this session?
I learned that Philip doesn't fuck around. Basically saw it in his eyes, felt it in the handshake. I know don't fuck with him. And so, yeah, I know basically how serious Philip is, not to fuck with Philip. Also, I know that I am trusted in this situation.
Yeah.
He seems to, Marco doesn't think he fucked it up enough to where deals off or something like that. He, maybe he got by on the skin of his teeth or whatever. And somebody who values being charismatic and stuff is all about impressions and stuff like that. And he couldn't be the top dog in the room, basically, but he still feels like he's in a good situation for himself personally in this endeavor.
Yeah, he didn't make an ass out of himself whatsoever. It's a tense situation though, and even, I should have had you do a roll. I'm going to have you do a roll right now. I want you to roll your perception and occult difficulty 8. So you got 1 success.
A lot of dice, 1 success.
Yeah, I know. Hey, it was a high difficulty. So the only reason I'm thinking about this is because about the stuff you learned. What you learned also is when you shook his hand and the things that you put together and you noticed is that that there are different belief systems that kindred have. They're things that help them control the beast, that help them survive through nights. And you have put together that Rita is probably so old in her ways that she has a belief system that has helped her, you know what I mean, from let the beast completely take over. But you see the price that has to pay. You see the skin, you know what I mean, the almost inhumane alien nature she has sometimes. When you shook Philip's hand and you noticed, I had you roll before where you kind of noticed all those things, you're piecing together that either A, he's on one of the he is on a belief system like that, or B, is the beast is taking so much over on him, you know what I mean, that like he's losing grips. And you know through your knowledge that for it's very rare to have young kindred or young, and you don't know anything about Philip, you know what I mean, but you didn't get with Philip, what you got was you saw signs of similarity as Rita, but not the alien detached nature. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah, that does make sense. And you would say Marco maybe knows about like different, I wouldn't say like outright paths, but like,
yeah.
He knows about different approaches to the condition.
Yeah, and the belief system and the way of dealing with the beast. I don't like using the term past because
right, yeah. No, I know what you mean, but like
philosophies. Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's good to know. I knew that he was somewhat familiar with the sects and you know, probably doesn't know like a whole lot, but he just knows about just different approaches to this whole thing. So okay, that's good to know that he basically
you have a high occult, and that's why I'm kind of giving it to you. Yeah.
Okay. So he knows that Philip is either like on a path or he's just already given a lot of his humanity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just already shed a lot of that.
Yeah.
How comfortable, how aware or familiar is Marco with like kindred? I mean, he hasn't met like a whole lot of kindred or whatever, but like how familiar is he with this kind of concept of just like this is what you are when you shed this humanity?
He's very familiar with that's what the family is.
So he knows what that is. Like he knows he looks at Rita and she's like this porcelain doll and has to be done up, and she's just
how she acts remote. All this,
okay.
You know,
so he gets it. He gets it.
He gets it. Yeah, and I mean, it's something that you may even think is going to be inevitable for you if you live to be that long. You know, and you don't even know how old she is. You know what I mean? But you definitely know that they're like, you look at Silvino, your uncle Silvino, like your uncle Silvano, and you don't get that vibe from him. You know what I mean? Like that he's like Rita at all. You know what I mean? But like you just. Like it's even part of like what you sense from Rita is you sense from the city of Venice itself. You know what I mean? And like that's this alienness to it, you know?
Okay, good to know. Yeah.
All right. So then role playing. I'm gonna give you 1 point for role playing. Actually 2 points for role playing because I think that you did really well. I think that the way that you handled that scene talking to the prince, I think was really awesome. The whole fear. I think a lot of role players when they play games, not saying everyone, but I think a lot like have this like machismo they feel they need their character to have to kind of be like against the grain or stand up or not be afraid or whatever, but for someone to be like, oh shit, I'm scared shitless, you know what I mean, by the presence of these people and like the intensity in the room. Or even that scene in the elevator where you were like, yeah, I should roll a self-control roll, just seeing the fear. I thought that was very vampire-like and I really love that, and so I'm gonna give you 2 points for that. I hate they have heroism. Like fucking really, like you're not gonna get a point for heroism unless we count like helping Jamie with boxes.
Wait, is that really in the book?
Yeah, 1 point. Heroism. On rare occasions, even vampires can truly behave as heroes.
Wait, so you actually get rewarded for that?
Yeah, you get rewarded for that. How crazy is that, dude?
Yeah, we'll just skip that.
Bonk. So you got 4 XP. So I don't know how many total XP you have right now, or if you'd like to spend any of it, or maybe we can spend at the end of the next session. It's up to you.
I have 14 XP right now, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to spend any just yet. I think I might be maybe. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I'm not going to spend any just yet. We'll talk.
We'll talk. All right. Well, it's been a pleasure, man. And everyone listening, I appreciate it. So I will catch you next time.
If you enjoyed Eidolon, I highly recommend checking out our Ghoul's Fatal Addiction series called Servitude. Set in the same continuity, it will give you a glimpse of major events and people of influence in the Twin Cities. And if you find you can't get enough, jump right into our main series starting with the Negligence story arc.